Hey everybody, I'm here today to recommend some short story collections. I know, I don't do this enough. I don't recommend enough short story collections, but there have been some fantastic collections this year. I've just picked 6 of my favorites that I'm going to share with you. So let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you are reading an amazing book or 2 or 3 or 4. It is officially cold enough for me to be wearing all of this again, so I think this morning when I walked my dogs it was 41. I know for some people that's like summer weather, but for me that is very, very cold. And most of the day it's been pretty chilly, but I have been working my butt off. I've got some time coming off where I will be off. So I'm super excited to try to get some reading in and all of that. And I recognize that sometimes during the holidays, we are a bit busy and it is hard to sit down and read an entire novel. So the best thing about short story collections is you can read them in bits and pieces and you can really just dive in and dive out as you need and as your schedule allows. So today I'm here to recommend 6 short story collections that I believe they've all come out this year for your TBR. The holidays are coming up. Pick up 1 or 2 or 3 of these. As always, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you can get these from your local independent bookstore, please do so. Or if you're a library user, get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. I don't think that I would ever start this year's short story collection discussion without talking about my favorite short story collection of the year, and that is Filthy Animals by Brandon Taylor. If you've been a watcher of my channel at all, you know I'm a huge fan of Brandon Taylor's. And this is his 2nd book that came out. At the center of this, there is an interconnection, a collection of interconnected short stories that deal with the relationships of a young queer black man and a cisgender male-female couple that he meets and sort of the complications of the relationship that develops between them. Interspersed between that, there are other stories that are just utterly fantastic. I always forget the name of it, and I want to Anne of Cleves is a story that still resonates to me in this novel. I think in this collection, I think about it all the time. And I just think Brandon Taylor has a way of getting people, like describing people and who they are in just an instant. And you just know who you're reading about so quickly. And as they sort of develop throughout the narrative, he sort of just makes them more and more complex. He just gets human interactions very well. It's just so well done. Yeah, he's one of my favorite writers writing today. So that's Filthy Animals by Brandon Taylor, out from Riverhead Books. And I actually requested that. So something that you can do sometimes is if you have an author that you really like, see where they live, and you may find that they have a local independent bookstore where they'll go in and they'll actually sign a copy of a book for you, and then you just pay the local independent bookstore to ship it to you. And that's what happened here with Brandon's book. So I do that quite often with authors that I haven't been able to meet, and I absolutely love it. The next book that I want to tell you about was longlisted for the National Book Award this year. It was the only short story collection to make the list, and I absolutely loved it. And that's The Souvenir Museum by Elizabeth McCracken, out from Ecco Books. Now, this collection deals with a lot of different things. It's sort of one of those, there's a lot of collections that are hard to summarize in sort of a single sentence, but there's a lot of dealing with loss and change in this book. It also has a couple of stories where people make repeat appearances, and it's really sort of the evolution of this couple's relationship, starting at when they attend a wedding for one of I think the groom or the male participants. What is that? The man in the relationship's sister or sibling is getting married, and they attend that, and that sort of starts the dynamic of their discussion about relationships and marriage. That was tough to get out. Yeah, it's been a long day, everyone. But again, there is a story about a man that takes his father, his aging father, after his mom has passed away, on a trip that broke my heart. And that's probably my favorite story. I think it's the second story in the collection. Yes, I believe it's called Proof, if I'm not mistaken. And it is absolutely fantastic. So that's the Souvenir Museum by Elizabeth McCracken. I actually love the idea, the Souvenir Museum, with this one. I think if you read it, it sort of fits so perfectly with the ideas and the emotions that are encompassed within the book. Okay, I've said enough. Please pick it up. It's very, very good. This is a collection that has sort of such a sad story to it, but this is Afterparties, stories by Anthony Veasna, also out from Ecco books. Anthony, unfortunately, just before or just after, I can't remember exactly, this book was published, he passed away tragically, super young. He is young. He was born in 1992. Talent taken way too soon. But this story collection deals with being a Cambodian American, and also deals with sort of the queer immigrant experience here in the United States. And yeah, it's definitely sad that we will not get more from Anthony, but I think it's wonderful that we have this collection to sort of celebrate his talent. And if I always love when people look at the American experience through a different angle or lens, and sort of this Cambodian American queer immigrant experience it just sort of takes everything into one view and just gives you sort of a different perspective on the world. Afterparties by Anthony Veasna, out from Ecco books. And that's got a great cover. So I have talked about this book that I'm about to talk about now a couple of times on my channel. I've recommended it for Halloween and all of that. But weirdly enough, I had no idea, but on the Goodreads year-end voting is considered a YA novel, and I would have never have thought. Beasts and Beauty, Dangerous Tales by Soman Chainani. And this is out from Harper books. Now, this is sort of one of those books where it takes stories that we know, Little Red Riding Hood, other tales like that, and turns them on their ear and sort of gives us a different perspective. And I'm just going to read you the first one. The first one's called Red Riding Hood. And the first sentence just says, "On the first day of spring, the wolves eat the prettiest girl." That's that. And then look at sort of what goes on with that on this cover. So it's super fun. It is also illustrated, beautifully illustrated. So if you have I say any type of reader, but hey, if you have a young adult reader that likes short stories or is looking for something just to read like one before bedtime, Beasts and Beauty by Soman Chainani, out from Harper books. All of these are out. I can just sort of continue to say that over and over again. The last two are the newest two that I'm going to talk about. And the first one is John Edgar Wideman's stories, Look for Me and I'll Be Gone. Now, I read a review of this. I had never heard of John Edgar Wideman, but it turns out that he published his first collection 40 years ago. So almost as old as I am, his literary career is. But he deals with very real topics to sort of the authentic adult experience, career, family, loss. He also talks a lot about the penal system. I believe he is from Pittsburgh, and he focuses a lot of his stories in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. And just, he talks about art and memory, and as he's grown older, his stories have sort of spread their wings in what they encompass. I've just started this one, so I don't have a ton of perspective, but I do love sort of the realness to his writing. So if that makes sense. So that's John Edgar Wideman's Look for Me and I'll Be Gone. And this came out at the beginning of November from Scribner, and you can get your hands on it. And that cover is something fierce. Yeah, take a moment. Okay, last but not least is one of those literary giants that puts out a book. So A.S. Byatt is really known for, I mean, she's known for being one of those great writers, right? But Possession, her novel that won the Booker, right? Is it Possession? Yes. I always want to call that a different name. I don't know why. Possession, it won her the Booker. It was everywhere. It was turned into a film that was, you know, reviewed. But she has put out a collection. Let me see if I can get you a good copy, a good view of this. This is a collection of her short works called Medusas Ankles. It actually has an introduction in it by David Mitchell, who I absolutely love. This is more for your, I don't know. So I'm not a short story theorist. I don't study it. But when I started reading the first one, I got such a sense of like Chekhov and Tolstoy and sort of that more enveloping sort of short story collection. Things that, you know, more lush in its sort of its prose and that sort of thing. So don't come after me in the comments if I'm utterly wrong on that comparison. But for me, it just felt more like it fit into that sort of world. You know, I don't believe that she's put out a ton of collections of her short fiction. So A.S. Byatt's Medusas Ankles, out now from Knopf, and it is absolutely beautiful. And I almost started just reading a story, because that's what we do here on my channel. I get distracted by the books that we talk about, and I just want to read them, and that's what happens. So this is a 6 short story collections to get you through the holiday season. You know, we're all busy. Get one, pick one up, read it real quick, you know, read it while you're eating your lunch or whatever. As always, if you are a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. I thank you so very, very much. If you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe. I hope you come back. And I hope you enjoy reading. As always, I encourage you, read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.